isn't it?
There you go. Hello. Well, very professional. Hello and welcome to Monday Night Paranormal Live with myself, Paul and Jenny from Host for Go, Angela from South Coast Ghost, Julia from Paranation Ghost Hunted Events, Paula, one of our investigators, Luke there, and with very special guests. I'm very honoured to have Russ from Essex Ghost Hunters with us tonight. Welcome, everybody, to Monday Night Paranormal Live.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So tonight we'll be talking to Russ. So if you have any questions, for sake and explanation, says hi guys. So if you have any questions for Russ about Essex Paranormal, Essex Ghost Hunters, please send them in. We'll answer the question and we'll get Russ to answer them for you. He does a couple of podcasts during the week, so stay touch and he'll give you the links for them so you can pop along, and they're very interesting. I have listened to a few now. They're very interesting. They have some grand locations that they go to, so stay tuned. We're going to ask them about them. Saturday night we were out at the Bombay Sapphire, or Laverstoke Mills as it was originally called. Great night, very active night, straight from the word go. So if we could squeeze that in, we will, but we'll definitely talk about it if it's not this next week, without a doubt, because it is a phenomenal place and we had some real good evidence on there. So everybody okay? So welcome, Russ, to Monday Night Paranormal Live. It's good to have you on with us.
No,
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your group, please?
Oh, well, to be fair, this is the 2025 will be our 25th year of Essex Ghost Hunters. We've been running for about 25 years. So it's a big year for us. It just started off with me and my uncle, Simon, and his stepson and my best mate. There was just four of us. I just left school and Simon said to me, "Have you ever heard about this place called Bombay Rectory?" And I'd said, "No." I said, "Never heard of it in my life." He said, "It's really haunted, didn't you?" So, cut a long story short, he took us there one night with a few mates, and let's just say we had some real fun and games with the activity side of things. We had things hitting the side of the car, stones being thrown at the car. Simon give way to what he thought was a car, but it wasn't. It was just two lights floating in the air coming towards us at a T-junction, and two people saw it in the car, but no car passed us. The lights just disappeared. So ever since then, 25 years ago, I've not really looked back. I absolutely love it, and I delved into everything I can, to be fair. And then obviously we started sort of a couple of years later onto that. We started the event side of things, because I don't know about you guys and like that, but trying to get into some of these locations with just four people is not necessarily cost effective. So the best way to do it is, for us, is invite people along that want to come along with us. And then we can get into some of these, places, because it's like it's splitting the cost, across the board. So some, like really nice locations and, the paranormal, hotspots, so to speak.
You have quite a few, I saw on your website, you have quite a few locations this year that you're going to, good locations.
And they're all new to us, apart from we're going back to Deal Castle, which we've been to before, and Valence House. just outside of Magnum that we're going back to, but the rest we've never investigated before. So can't wait to sort of get them going.
Cool. Anybody got a question? Any questions, Andrew, for us? Anybody?
There's none on the screen yet.
Okay.
But I wanted to ask, do you only do locations in Essex, or would you go around the country?
Oh, we go up and down the country. In March, we're in Birmingham. We're at Stillhouse Lane in Birmingham in March. We've been to Wales. We've been to sort of Shrewsbury, Shepton, Peterborough Museum. Yeah, anywhere we feel that you're drawn to. I sort of, we've got a great little team. We have a team of 12 events 2 nights, but we've got a really 2 great sort of, I don't want to call them admin, but they're not admin. They do all the booking. And I'll just sit there randomly one night and say, you know what, let's try and get a boat or a ship. And then sort of 3 days later, one of our Kim will come back and say, we've got the HMS Warrior down in Portsmouth that have said yes to it. And it's like, let's just do that then. I said, shit, now she's on a plane. I said, I want to investigate a plane. So that's what she's do now. So
we've done the Warrior. We've also done another boat because I run pretty much along the same lines where I'm like, oh, let's do this. Let's do a boat. Let's do a ship, and we've done a boat, well, like a boat type thing. We've done HMS Warrior as well. We've done some hovercrafts, but a plane would be an old plane would be amazing. We do like traditional methods, and we also use like modern methods of ghost hunting. What's your favorite piece of equipment?
Oh, that is, do you know what? I don't want to sound corny, but yourself. I know that's a right cop-out question, but answer, sorry. But I do think yourself, because your heightened abilities and your height, if you know there is something about, I don't care who you are, if you're a non-believer or you're a believer, you can walk into any location, or you've been in someone's house.
Just get that feeling, don't you? It's like, oh, something's here.
But I do like the FLIR camera. If I've got to pick a bit of sort of a gadget or something like that, I like the FLIR cam or the thermal imaging camera. Something that does give you some sort of anomalies that you can't really sort of debunk. If there's a heat signature there and no one's been there, it's like,
one of these.
Okay,
I just happen to have one to hand. Being a ghost hunter, this is what you have hanging around your house, isn't it?
I lift up paperwork on my desk, and there's normally something. It's either my tarot cards or it's something else that should be laying there,
Yeah.
But I think dowsing rods are pretty good as well. From what I like dowsing rods.
I've been dowsing for over 20 years, and I've got like a personal set, and I've also got the working set that I do use, let people use on the events, and but they don't work for everybody. This is what Kim was saying to people. Some people they work for. Some people, as soon as they pick them up, they're swinging about. There's energy there. Other people just pick them up and they're just like 2 metal rods, and they go, why aren't they moving? Why aren't they moving? And I'm like, well, they don't work for everybody, and people don't seem to understand that that's just the way it is. They just think, oh, they should work. If they work for her, they work for him, and they work for her, but they don't. They don't work for everybody, do they?
No, not. They don't. But I think people that sometimes will block it. I think
maybe
fear
that's
is
what
a
they're
thing.
doing.
I think fear is I say you run events as well, so you sort of the ones that fear it, and you see the ones that walk in and like, don't why did I do this? Why did I do that? And I think they think that people are going to jump out on them. I think people think they're going to go jump in the night, and I think they've got a real fear factor to it. And
we were talking about that, weren't we, Paul?
Yeah.
We were talking about that. Was it last week? I can't remember, but yeah, we were talking about people come in and negative attitudes, and people where they don't, they almost don't believe so much to the extent that they block anything coming through. I think that was our sort of conclusion.
They just come along because the girlfriend wanted them to come along, or
Yeah.
that type of thing. As soon as you get them type of people there, you welcome skeptics, don't you? You always welcome skeptics, because that's what part of being in the paranormal world's about, isn't it? Like we say, we probably debunk 80% of what we find, and then, I've only come along because my girlfriend wanted me to come, or my wife didn't want to come on her own. So you're already on a little bit of a back step there. Have you ever tried a human pendulum, Russ?
Yes, yeah, human pendulum. I used that. I was taught that many, many years ago, and I use it as, I'd say, one of my. I suppose within our team, I'm quite brash when it comes to investigating. I'm quite brash. My uncle is totally different. He tippy toes along and gathers all the information and then lets it go. I'm at the far end and I work backwards, and what I've ballsed up and have to correct on the way in. And I always use the guests, so to speak, especially if you're a skeptic. It's like a red rag to a bull. If someone says, no, I don't believe, all my ears prick up, and I'm just going to focus on you all night long, and I'm going to make sure that you walk out and you've experienced something. And that's just how I work. And human pendulum is one of my favorites, because that's what I say. Come and spirit, push them, pull them, blow in their ear. And how many times that you see people scream or move, and you think, and they go, oh, that was just a bit of, something touched me.
Yeah.
Right, whatever. And that's like a tick for me. Done. You're out. You're sorted. I know I've won that one. So.
And even when like newbies come, if they can take something away, even if it's just like the glass moving and turning, or somebody captured a picture of this, as long as they can take something away, that you've done okay on the night. Or they're going away, did you see that? Oh, I was in this room, this happened. That you've done a good event.
It's always the ones that come out, and I always notice the ones that have had a good event, because they don't necessarily say too much. And they go, you had a good night, and they go, yeah. And you think, you know what, something's in your head, and I'll get a couple of days later and think, yeah, all right.
Do you get people come in, like newbies come in, and that they don't want to touch anything?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you have to touch stuff for it to work. And oh no, we'll just sit and watch. And you're like, you have to touch it. It's not going to work. It won't just work unless you're very lucky. Oh no, I don't want to touch it. And you're like, oh, okay, well, nothing's going to happen then. You need the energy.
They're always skeptical. They don't believe in it, but why won't you touch it? It's very simple. Why won't you touch it? Oh, well, something could happen. Well, you don't believe in it, so how can something happen if you don't believe in it?
Yeah.
But I do think Hollywood plays a massive part in it. Hollywood has played a massive part in the wrong thing, in my eyes.
Do you also get like people that they'll do the glass, or they'll do like the human pendulum, or they'll do things like that, but they won't do the Ouija board?
Yeah.
And you're like, well, it's all the same thing. Like a glass is the same. It's very, very similar to the board. You're doing the same thing, but people just have a big stigma about boards, and you're like, well, we're just asking questions, and we're just trying to get some sort of like answers from that. So yeah, there's a big stigma with them. But yeah, as you say, Hollywood probably does play too big a part in bits and pieces. I think we've got some questions here. We've got some questions, Angela.
Danny Wolf CBAS says, people can't or should not use your rods, only you should, as it's your energy combined with the rods that make them work. But if you have rods, if someone wants to do it, get them to make them new ones and teach them. Imagine. Sorry, Julie, go on. You've done it for a long time.
I disagree. I've had lots of people using my rods, not my personal set, but the working set. I've had lots of people using the rods, and it's just entertainment. It's just for entertainment. And if people want to have a go, then we're all on the event together. We're all we're all in it together. And if people want to pick them up and have a go, I'm happy for them to do that. As long as you ground them, it's fine. I believe so. That's my belief.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty much on the same line there, because you can clear them down, you can sage them, you can smudge them if you feel you need to after to clear the negative energy from them.
Yeah. It's always, you should do that with equipment anyway, shouldn't you? Really, because if you're in a haunted location, a lot of equipment could absorb the energy, and I always find that I try and ground mine when I get home and just clear it, so you're all ready, set to go. One of our viewers, Gemma. Hi, Gemma. Good evening. She put, hi, everyone, and welcome to Russ. Question for Russ. I missed the first 5 minutes. What's the story of your paranormal group? Also, what made you form the group, Gemma?
Gemma, welcome again. Yeah, I say, I'm Russ from Essex Ghost Hunters. Been running Essex Ghost Hunters for sort of 25 years to the year. Yeah, Bawley Rectory was a big, in Essex, as a big Bawley Rectory fan, and that sort of just linked us in really, and sort of had some activity go on at that location, and never really looked back 25 years ago. So, and we run events up and down the country ever since, really.
Do you do many private stuff, Russ, there?
As in, what, if people call us, or do we go
Yeah.
out privately?
Yeah, because I'm just about finishing one, and you'll know where I am when I say Severals Asylum area.
Yeah.
You know the
Yeah.
Severals?
Yeah.
I've just finished a case in a haunted house on Severals.
Right.
Do you do a lot around that area?
Yeah.
Sorry, private?
Yeah, we do private. If someone contacts us, we'll happily go out and sort of try and get them an answer as best as we can. Not all the time it plays ball. Sometimes the client doesn't quite get what we're saying. We've had many a clientele that think their house is haunted, and you think it's not really haunted. It's just your loved ones trying to get hold of you, and you're not listening because you want truths. And they always come in and say, well, we've saged it, we've smudged it, we've done this, we've done that. And we simply turn around and say, well, sage only gets rid of really negative energies. So if you had any negative energies here, they've gone. So the ones that you're doing this are ones that are positive and could be potentially loved ones or something trying to get you a message. But yeah, we didn't do a case. We had over in there's a location. There used to be a mental institution over in Whalley Mental Institution in Brentwood, many years ago, and it all got knocked down, and flats got built, and houses got built, and for about 3 or 4 weeks, when they opened up the houses, we had an influx of emails. We must have had about 10 a week from every different resident in that. Doors opening, flying open, being woke up in the night, and you just couldn't. One of my good friends moved there, and he lasted 6 months and he left. It seems to have settled. I think it's it's one of them things. It was a new thing, and so yeah, we do privates, and it is what it is at the end. But you have to be careful, don't you? Of what the big wigs get hold of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean that one I'm doing in Colchester. We when I've gone through the history and gone back, I've been blocked a lot of ways for getting any further back.
Yeah.
The most I can go back to is about 1901. Anything, and when I try and inquire about what happened in Severals when the army took over, I'm blocked.
Yeah.
You're not, obviously. I don't know why. You can find out more information about the Second World War than you can the First World War. But a very interesting place, Severals. Have you been over that area?
I went there many years ago, when it was sort of, because there was a time where you could sort of not get into it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So,
we know what you mean.
So yeah, we did do a couple of evenings over there, sort of with no torches, and running from security guards every now and again. So, yeah, it was a bit of a freaky place. Yeah, give you heebie-jeebies, really, that place.
What I'll have to do is I'll get permission from the client. I'll send you over the PowerPoint that I've done on it, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised what's happened there and what we found out. But I'm not, obviously not going into it on here because it's a private.
Yeah,
but,
that's it, yeah.
Gemma's put, what's the best haunted location you have been in Essex? Anywhere worth visiting, Gemma?
For me, if you're going to come anywhere in Essex to have a visit, I would always beeline for obviously Bawley Rectory. It has obviously the Rectory's not there anymore. They burnt it down because of the haunted sort of attraction to it. But you can walk down the street of it. There's a little churchyard there that you can walk around. Just be a little bit respectful to the neighbours and all that. Then but that's for me. Yeah, obviously you've got the famous not so nuclear bunker.
Oh yeah,
go to in Kelvedon, which we've done that. We've done that. What now? Being in Essex, we've done it loads of times. And I tell you what, the amount of times that we go back and get something different, and how many people say to us, "Well, it can't be haunted. It can't be haunted." Or I'll sit here and argue with anyone about Kelvedon that we've had nights where nothing's happened, and we've had nights where we have been chased out of that place.
Wow.
It's a real funny little location. You can go there and nothing will happen, but you could go there some nights and it will just kick off massively there.
Wow, that's interesting. That Kelvedon is the secret nuclear bunker.
Yeah,
for anybody who's watching, we can't tell you it's a very secret nuclear bunker, so we can't tell you where it is.
Well, we've actually sort of doing the investigations around then. We must have been plus 20 times now, and even though it's called the secret nuclear bunker, and everyone laughs and joke about it, I do think it's called the secret nuclear bunker for a reason. And I think, like you said, during the wars there, I think something went on in there that didn't come ever to surface.
Right.
And you've got things like testing there. We've had, testing of biological weapons and how people react to it. And I think, we especially from the Essex down this end, we all laugh and joke about the secret nuclear bunker because it is signposted. You drive through Brentwood and that's it. There's a signpost for the secret nuclear bunker. But when you actually sort of start digging into it and start investigating it, and we try to sort of, sometimes it's hard to sort of go there every year and not sort of remember what's gone on in past terms.
Yeah.
We can try and keep that quiet and not say anything to our guests. And then what comes through to them, and we've literally the last, 5 or 6 times we've been, it has been coming to the surface of actually maybe something went on in that place that we will never know about.
Yeah.
And never actually get the real meaning of, because the bunker was actually never used. It was always sort of a cold, like a Cold War. But what actually went on in there? Why did no one see it being built? You know, it goes sort of 120 meters, 120 foot underground.
Wow.
Where's the dirt gone for all that? And there was no evidence of where it was put and how it was dug and where the lorries were going. It's very odd. It's a very odd place. So if you're going to go to Essex, go and visit Kelvedon Bunker.
There you go, Gemma. There's an invite from Essex Ghost Hunters. If you're around that way and they're down there, get down there and see Russ.
Yes,
He'll take you in there to scare you. Because there's another secret bunker. Do you know Ballsy Island, just off the coast of Felixstowe?
Is there really?
Yeah. Because my brother-in-law was a fireman, and it was a nuclear base during the Cold War. but it has a secret bunker. And I contacted them about doing some stuff in like ghost hunt event in Felixstowe and Suffolk in that area, because there's not much up there. And when I contacted him, he said, everything is still in the bunker. All the machines, the radio, everything is as it was when they left. But he said, the only way you can ever get in there is on a tour. You'd never ever let anybody there after dark. And that's another place that intrigues me. Why? If you can go in the daylight, why can't you go in the dark?
There used to be one at Mistley as well, didn't there? Mangentry Mistley Way.
All right.
The way to Harwich.
Yeah.
On the way down there, there's a bunker there. But once again, it's got all the equipment left in it. It's got all the computers there. But once again, you can't get in it.
Yeah. Graham Bentley's put, I'm reading the Harry Price 10 years investigation at Borley Rectory, and it's really interesting. Such a lot went on over them years.
It was crazy. It was really, and I say he was like sort of, he was like the founding father, wasn't he, of sort of like the Ghost Club and things like that still run today. And yeah, some of his techniques were a little bit what do you call them, obscure, but I do think he had he really did have a keen interest in it.
Yeah, he was very methodical, wasn't he? Really, he wasn't rushing in and saying yeah. He would spend days, weeks, and months, wouldn't he, researching?
I think he spent a hell of a long time at Borley Rectory. Yeah,
that seems to be one of his famous investigations, doesn't it? Really, Borley Rectory, And a friend of ours who sadly died earlier last year, Angela's partner, he was very much into Borley Rectory. He'd been there a few times when it was still up and had some real good experiences there. He's also had experience in Cornwall with Alistair Crowley's house in Cornwall. You ever been to that one?
No, never been down that far.
Angela went with Darren to there, and it was really interesting, wasn't it, Angela?
Yeah, it's very difficult to find. I think it took us 3 attempts before we actually found it. And then getting to it was a nightmare. But yeah, it's a very interesting building. It's got a strange feeling to it. Was
it like in the middle of some woods or something?
No, it's sort of up on a hill and round the back, and you have to go through like lots of overgrown, really tall grass and brambles and everything to get to it. But you can only just about, you can't actually see it from like the road. You just have to sort of know where it is. But yeah, it is a good place to get to if you can get to it.
That's the thing, is what makes it more haunted, isn't it? Because you can't see it for the road, so you don't get a lot of people passers-by traipsing all over it and ruining the area, do you? If it's that difficult to find.
Yeah, and there's a couple of really old vehicles right outside the house, so I don't know how they got there. They must have been there a very long time.
So if you could go anywhere in the world, Russ, for a paranormal night, where would be what was on your bucket list, basically?
Bran Castle.
All right.
I would love to go to Bran Castle. That's up there. We was just before COVID hit us. We had a lot of plans to get there. We had things sort of in place, and then COVID come in, and then everything got put on the back burner. Alcatraz, always wanted to do Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Some, that really would interest me. Alcatraz. I say they're the 2 big ones that I would love to do. Jedburgh Castle was also on the bucket list. I haven't got up to Jedburgh yet, but that would be very much on my bucket list as well.
Nice. Mine's Waverly Hills Sanatorium in America.
Yeah.
That's where I'd want to go. That's my top one, because that's supposed to be mentally haunted, isn't it? That one.
It's big as well, isn't it?
Hey?
It's big as well. It's massive.
Oh, it's huge. Covered a lot of weight. But that's on the top of my bucket list. So one day they do a live from Waverly Hills Sanatorium. If if we can get out alive, that is. We might be doing a live from the other side.
Well, it's quite amazing how sort of when we're in sort of the UK and the British Isles, we want to sort of get to America, and the Americans want to get to Britain with our history. It's really odd, isn't it? You know, we sort of,
Yeah.
you know, we have got some of the most historic areas within the UK that we could probably go all our lifetime and still not tick all the boxes.
Yeah.
You know, we've got Pendle Hill. You know, that's another one that I went to.
Yeah, that intrigues
Really
me. Pendle Hill.
Have you ever been to Pendle Hill?
No, I've never got there yet.
No, same here.
That intrigues me. Because Witchfinder General was from your area, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Around Manning Tree, that way?
Yeah, Matthew Hopkins. We come across him quite a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we come across him
Still going, is he?
Yeah, because we have a lot of, say, being within Essex, there was a lot of witch trials that went around. And even though you see the big documented cases that, you know, he actually come down as far as sort of Dagenham area.
Oh, right.
Was, you know, along with the sort of Dagenham, and there was a lot of cases. And we've got one area called Hockley Woods over just outside of Southend, if you're going to put it that sort of area for anyone that knows. And you could spend all day walking around that place, and he would be there. He would be there within a night, and it's just got witch written all over it. There's just a real awe of plenty. Coalhouse Fault as well.
Oh, I've heard that. Yeah.
On the estuary, he's present there as well. For what reason, I still haven't got to that answer yet.
Right.
I do believe there was some form of executioners, sort of the witches' duckings and that went on outside of Coalhouse Fault at some point.
Wow. And have you ever ventured into Epping Forest then?
Yeah,
Done a bit around Epping?
Yeah,
have you had any experiences there?
Yeah, loads. To be fair, the Epping Forest is just the craziest energy that you ever walk through because of the history that it owns from. Obviously, we go back as far as Dick Turpin, which is very loose. We say Dick Turpin now. It's very loose, Dick Turpin. When you do your investigation, actually do the real digging, he was really, really predominant in an area that was linked to Epping Forest, but in Dagenham.
Right.
Before like the motorways and everything was built, Epping Forest was huge. It was like the New Forest. It was huge. And over time it got split, didn't like just shrinked and shrinked and shrink.
Yeah.
He was very much predominant in a woodland over in Dagenham. But you've also got the history of, you know, the craze in Epping Forest. Everything that you could imagine has gone on in Epping Forest. From, if you know, not that I've done it before anyone, you know, you could lose a body in Epping Forest quite easily. And, you know, we've all sort of, and it's not far outside of East London, all the outskirts of London.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of sort of history of sort of gangs and things like that, Epping Forest.
But they say there's a lot of occults gathered there as well.
Yeah, they swim. You know, there is a bylaw in Epping Forest that you're not allowed to enter the forest after 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
And police do still circulate the area. So
right.
You just got to know where to park and walk in from the backs. But yeah, they still do. You can walk through like pathways and go through sort of fields, and all of a sudden you'll find sort of skinned sort of crows and squirrels that are still hanging on the trees. And then you sort of do a little bit of digging, and they all go swimming in like the ducking ponds and things like that to call the energies through. And it still goes quite strongly over there.
Yeah. And anybody got any questions for him while I'm still asking?
I was going to say, what's your scariest place you've ever been to, basically, that scared you, basically, and wouldn't want to go back?
I won't mention the name, okay. Because it's more of an area. And there was a what do they call it, where they closed the church down, decommissioned,
Decommission, yeah.
along them lines. And we went to this fort. We had a little nice area around this fort. We got enough little them. We thought, let's go for something to eat. We're all hungry, and we'll go back to the fort after night time. So we found this lovely little place in this lovely little village. There was this old churchyard and disused church that we could investigate. So we sat down. We had this lovely meal in this pub. We got talking to the owner of the pub, and he went, "What are you here for?" I said, "Oh, we're paranormal investigators." He went, "Oh, I could tell you a few stories about this place. After your dinner, we'll get you down in the basement, and you can investigate the cellar." She was like, "Oh, wicked, brilliant." Three of our team members were outside having a smoke, and Simon was talking to sort of the team, and he's going, "Look, I'm picking up on this woman, blah blah blah," you know. And the landlord overheard the conversation of what was going on. But that was it. Didn't want anything more to do with us. You know, wouldn't let us down in the cellar. Wouldn't let us see. Sort of give us the bill and told us to be on our way virtually.
Oh,
So a bit odd, you know. You know, but we went to the church, and a little bit like, what's the you know the film Hot Fuzz? Is it Hot Fuzz?
Hot Fuzz, yeah.
The villagers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was like. The curtains started to twitch, then things started to appear out the woodlands next to us, right? Red eyes.
Oh.
And you could feel the energy. You could it was not to say that was the only thing, but there was a real dark energy. It was so negative that everyone in our team was feeling it, and we got pinned in the you know, the entrance to the church, you know, the pew bit, you can sit in the thing. We got pinned in that by the energies outside, and we was like, we're just gonna have to run for it. We're gonna have to run for it, because we had red eyes running along the back of the fence. We had you know, noises being thrown at us. They weren't human at this point.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't want to be here. I do not want to be here. So we managed to get out the churchyard, and as we was walking back to the van, and I mean, I was on a real power walk back to the van. Cars were coming out of driveways and mounting the curbs and getting very close to us. And is what was the story was picking up. The church was linked to the pub.
Oh, right.
And they were still sacrificing today what they were sacrificing.
No way.
So I took it as like, you know what, I dodged a bullet there, because they wanted us down in the cellar. You know, what's going on in that cellar? That was my fear. And honestly, I had a van at that point with the sliding doors on the side where people could sit in the back. Well, I was driving down that main road with them doors still open and people still getting in the side of the car. Get out and go. I've never, ever been back to that place, and I never want to go back to that place.
Oh, wow.
Even thinking about it, I can feel my heart going.
Yeah.
You know,
Can tell your voice.
It was an awful feeling, because it was a bit of both. You could feel the negative energy, but you could feel the locals. You could almost feel them picking up their phones and saying, "They're there. Can you see them?" And you're thinking, you can see the curtains twitching and that. It was like, oh, let's just get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah.
I've never been back
How
since.
strange.
Oh.
And you never had the inkling, think, you know what, I'm going to go back and see what.
No.
I wouldn't.
I feel like I've got out alive at that point. You know, I'm not tempting fate. You know, I the spirit got me out of that situation, and I think I never say never. I'd have to be a very brave man to go back there, because it has given me the fear. It's given me the fear. But I chase fear. We chase fear as paranormal investigators. There's nothing better than being frightened or feel that the goosebumps go up on your arm. Or
Would you go back in the daytime? Would you then? Because must have been nighttime. You done this, was it?
we turned up in daytime, like in the
Oh,
late, it was summer. It was summer, so sort of around about that sort of 6:30, 7 o'clock mark. By the time we'd had our dinner,
Yeah.
it becomes dusk, and by the time we got to the church and everything like
Yeah.
that, you know, I don't think I would. I think I would drive through it.
Yeah.
In the back seat with a blanket over me and looking through one eye through the mirror. That's how I would do it. But no one could tell me I'm going there. It'd be like a secret, you know. Yeah, I think it still would give me the EBGBs.
Oh wow.
You know, I've walked around Shepton Mallet prison through the morgue bit on my own for hours and still not feared as much as what I feared that night.
And all of your team members felt the same, glad to get out of this alive.
3 of us did, and 2 of them didn't.
Oh wow.
And they were the ones that were like not getting in the car quick enough for me to, you know. No, I don't care how dirty your boots are; they can wait. You know. Just
Lucky didn't leave them then.
Anybody got a question for her? Oh, crazy girl, oddities and adventures. Can I ask what's your opinion on table tipping?
Is that to me or is that to
Yeah, for you, Russ. Sorry, yeah.
I love table tipping. I love it. I think it's fantastic. If you get it going right, I think it's just a real good. To be fair, is what I find with table tipping. I think it's a good thing if it's an evening is flat. If you have a flat evening, get the table up because you have to put the energy into it. You have to make noise. You have to make sure spirit can hear you. And as soon as it starts moving, people's energies go up and go, wow, look at that. You know, we've had it jump in the air. We've had it collapse on us. We've had it on one leg, spinning in circles, sliding across the floor. We've had tables fighting each other in one village hall that we did. One end, it was like
we've never tried that, have we?
It was bang, and they were smashing on each other. One bloke didn't like the woman at the other end, and the table literally run down. People was on it, holding their fingers, and the table just run down it and just hit the other table out the door.
Oh wow!
It was quite jaw dropping. It really was.
I think sometimes if you visually see something, don't they? You know, us paranormal investigators. Some people are sensitive and pick up the energy and all of that. But when guests actually see a physical thing move, a cat ball flash, or hear footsteps, then I think that makes their night. You know, because they physically can see something going. You know, you see a cat ball flash, and go, "Oh wow, look at that! It's flashing." You know, we're thinking, "Come on, you can do more than this. We know you can."
But then I think that's the entry, isn't it? That's the entry into it. You sort of get the more energy you can get in that room, the better it is for everybody. You're going to have more experience. You know, we only take a maximum of 20 to 25 people per event and split into 3 groups in every event. So you only get in sort of 8 sort of guests and 3 team members, and we can be really quite sort of in the moment. And I think if everyone can get something and get that energy in that room, as you say, like a cat ball flashing, you know, it may mean absolutely nothing to us. An EMF might go, you know, but they see that and they're now in it, and their extra energy in that room then lifts the whole thing. And that's when I find we get our best nights. You know, if everyone's energy is up, just like, you know, you said it at the beginning, you always get the husband or the boyfriend that's been dragged along, that's missing the football, that really doesn't want to be there. And then by the end of the night, he's already booked another 3 events. You know, and that's because got him involved, if that makes sense. Yeah,
it's like when they leave and they've got that, like you were saying earlier, they got that little look on their face. You think you've had a good night here.
Yeah.
You know, have you enjoyed the night? Well, yeah, it's interesting. So you know you've got them, don't you? You know that they've had something happen that they don't want to say. And we find that, I don't know if you find that in a lot in we do the human pendulum. you know, you ask people to ask questions, but the spirit is answering the question before someone said it, so they already know what's being thought around the circle. Do you have that issue where it moves and you think, come on, someone asked that question?
Yeah, all the time, all the time. You know, sometimes you have to bite your lip, don't you? It's like, you know what you want to say, just someone say it, you know.
Yeah.
Different to sort of the spirit board or the Ouija board, is it? You know, 9 times out of 10 that you know what's being said before it's even, you know.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question with regards to the woods. A few years ago, my friend used to live on Virginia Waters, which is like Surrey area, and we used to go around there and we used to like walk in the woods, take the dog for a walk. He had a big Great Dane, and we used to take the dog for a walk. And he used to say that in the woods he used to see this like light, like a torch light, and when he walked up to the torch light, all of a sudden it would just disappear. So I thought, oh, okay. So we did a little bit of research, and apparently there's spirit lights in the woods, and when you get close and the light disappears, apparently that means you're on consecrated ground.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, have you ever seen, because you know you go around woods and forests and that, have you ever seen a spirit light in the woods?
Yes. I was, as soon as you was mentioning spirit light, I remember one clearly. I live literally around the corner. It's not a well-known area, but we call it Cash's Well, and it's an old well that was built in the forest. He was, around it was called Vange Well Number 5, and he used to bottle his own water. And
ooh, dodgy.
He was very well known man. You know, there's a pub called the Angel Pub in Islington.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's got the dome on the top of it, a very famous dome. Well, he owned the Angel Pub in Islington, and then he went and replicated this mini pub, the dome over the top of the well. Cut a long story short, there was a sanatorium at the top of the hill. It flooded, and it all went into his water. But because he was so money grabbing that he continued to sell the water in Essex, has called it the best clear out water in Essex. But it made people very, very ill with diarrhea and sickness. But he continued to sell the water as the clear out water of Essex. So we found this well. It's still there standing today. It's in a very derelict state, but it's still there. You can still walk the woods and see it. And that's how we found the location. We followed the spirit lamp. We called it a lamp.
Oh.
And we followed it, and then we found it.
Oh, wow.
That's what was going through my head. As soon as you said spirit light, I thought, I've seen one of them, and I know what I'm... So, yeah, I do. We followed that.
I think when we did ours, we just ended up on, like, well, just wooded ground, really, and we didn't really sort of go any further. We just thought, oh, okay, well, the lights disappeared. Nothing to see here. This was a fair few years ago, but maybe we should have started digging or something.
Do you think, Russ, do you think he was trying to lead you to the well?
Yes.
Yeah.
He wanted you to find it.
Yeah, 100%, because it was our very, very first event. What happened is how we wanted to sort of test the waters for Essex Ghost Hunters. Would people be interested 25 years ago? Would people be interested on going on a paranormal investigation with us? So I said, look, let's just try something. Let's take people on a forest walk. We know they're haunted. Let's do it. So we said we're going to put it on a website, blah blah blah, and we did Hadley Castle. And for want of a better thing, someone contacted us from National Trust or English Heritage saying, no, you can't be in there at night time, blah blah blah. Well, you can't stop us from being in there, but we'll listen to you because we don't want no trouble. And I couldn't find another location, but all of a sudden, Vange Well Number 5 come up on my screen with this picture of an old brick building with this dome over it. And I couldn't find it. We couldn't find it. And at night time, we was walking through these woods for hours. And all of a sudden, this light appeared out of nowhere. We followed it, and it just stopped, and there was the well in front of us.
Wow.
And that's when we did our first event. We did our
Wow.
first the following week there.
Brilliant.
And
Just shows you, didn't it?
really, we've had, you know, that has been quite sinister in ways as well. We've had guests walk out with blood, you know, 3 scratch marks on their back. People been, I don't like to use the word possessed because it's a very hard word, but we've had people overtaken there, if you want to put a better phrase, and we've had to carry them out of the energy. We've had people wanting to fight there where they've just had energies overtake. It's a real, you know, if we, you know, it'd be very, if you're sort of in sort of, you know, up in Essex way, you know, pop into Cash's Well at night time and you'll get some real good evidence. It will never fail you in there.
Mm.
And yeah, is there a question?
Yeah. Have you done Rendlesham Forest? Have you got any experience there?
I love Rendlesham Forest. We love Rendlesham because I'm very into obviously ufology, and Rendlesham being, you know, the UK's Roswell. So yeah, we've done a lot of investigation there. But that is a really, you know, when the very first time we went through that forest, I can safely say it was as if someone or something cut off my spiritual communication. I couldn't hear my guides. I couldn't hear my loved ones. I couldn't hear anything until we got back in the car.
Wow.
And then, sorry, I had a spiritual light at that place as well. And so I pulled up in Rendlesham in the car park. We walked to the gate and my car alarm went off. God, go back. So we go back, nothing. Shut it down again, lock it again, walk off. Car alarm goes off. The electric boot starts to go up on the back. And we're watching it by the gate, which is about, 300 foot away? And it's like, oh, this is going to be a good night, isn't it? So we shut down. We went on a third time, and it never did anything. So we managed to get through the gate. But as soon as we went through the gate, it was as if something just went and turned all spiritual communication off. And we was live. I walked around the whole Rendlesham Forest live. And we saw this spiritual. I actually jumped out of my skin, to be fair, because I turned around because someone said, "Can you turn the camera back round to the path so we can see?" And as I turned around, this light just launched at me, and I like, you know, screamed like a big girl's bra. Do you know what I mean? And you know, everyone laughed. And I said, "Did anyone else see that?" And I said, "Jay said it was a torch. It has to be a torch." I said, "Well, there's no one in front of us. Everyone's behind us." So we carried on going, and we got back to the car, sat in the car, and we was driving past. Has any of you ever been to Rendlesham?
Yeah, I
So
have.
you
Yeah.
drive way up. You sort of come where the runway is, isn't there?
Yes, right. Yeah.
The runway.
Yeah.
And as soon as we got to the front of that runway, we saw a red light come across the runway, and the white light was zooming around the inner of the car. So the car, we all saw it in the car. It's like you know, this light was zooming like this in the front of my car. It went from my side to there, around the back. All my sat nav and the engine just went, died. The light flew out the car, the engine all come back on again.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And that's another time when I put my foot down and I was down that driveway. As soon as I had power back in that engine, I heard that engine go. That was it. I was gone down that path.
That's a long driveway, isn't it, when you're trying to get out?
And it's got bumps on it, but I didn't care about them bumps. I was over them bumps.
I think when I went to Rendlesham, I found it very disconcerting. Like, I thought I was lost because everything looked the same for a moment, and I'm thinking, which way did I come in? And I was just totally, I don't know whether there's a lot of EMF there or something, but I sort of looked around and thought, I don't remember which way I've come in. And literally, I'd only been there 10, 15 minutes, literally. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get out of here then? Because I don't actually know where I am. But all I had to do was turn around and go back down the path I came. But I couldn't get my head around that.
If anyone's going to Rendlesham, the best place to park is car park 9. They're always signposted. Parking car park 9. Just walk through the little bit where it is and walk up to the path, and that was where the actual main gate is, to where Colonel Holt and Penniston all come out from, and that walks you along the side of the actual runway, and you can actually see it in the hangars, and you don't realise just how big them hangars are in context to yourself, because you sort of go, wow, they are huge. But I have to say, with going back over enough times and being back there, I'm quite happy to say it. I think there is something still there. I do think there is something hidden within the area of the runway or on the forest. I do think there's some underground something. You know, I'm not saying a city or something, anything like that, but I don't think the so-called crash craft ever left Rendlesham's site. I think it's still there today, and I still think that is still why there's heightened activity in that area.
Because it's like where they left the plaque to where the UFO landed. It's not actually where it landed, was it?
No, it was...
They're trying to mislead you a bit, aren't they? They're taking you a bit away from the landing site. If I understand, nothing grows in the landing site, but they steer you away from it.
Yeah.
So,
and they tried to pin it on the lighthouse, didn't they? Dave Clark tried to pin it on the lighthouse. Well, I've been around Vendlesham Forest enough. I know the lighthouse isn't there anymore, for, you know, in context. But you can't see. I don't see how it can be a lighthouse. I just don't. You know, I just don't see that. I can't see
not from that distance. Not from that distance. You know, I know lighthouses are meant to be seen, but that's a bit of a distance, isn't it? Really, to project a light that far into the forest through the trees, and then end up in the middle of the forest. You know, I was never sure about that excuse, to be honest.
No.
And if you go there, I think Angela, you've been there, did you? Did you go with Darren?
Yeah, we went there. We went there a couple of times. The first time we went in, sort of like the main visitor entrance. But it was like such a long walk round. Darren couldn't make it. So the second time we parked somewhere around the back. I don't know which car park it was. But yeah, that was a lot easier to get straight into the forest then. But I remember there were parts where it looked like the trees had sort of been planted because they were in sort of like in rows and straight lines and that. And like, that's not natural. They're not, don't look like they're naturally just grown there. Look like they'd all been planted in a specific way. I remember that was
really
a bit
weird,
odd.
especially at night time, because you can see sort of through the trees in a direct line, can't you, at certain points?
Yeah.
But then that makes you wonder whether they dragged the craft through there, doesn't it?
But it also happens at Cannock Chase.
All right.
Have you been to Cannock Chase?
No.
Want to.
The woodlands there, which that's obviously very UFO orientated as well. And we've got a real nice little hot spot that we go to there, and it's a real buzz of activity. And we've caught some footage there, which is, I would safely say it was some form of cryptoid, Bigfoot or something, walking through the forest quite clearly. You could see it's bipedal, arms, legs, shoulders, and a head. Quite clear walking through the forest. And exactly the same as Rendlesham, where we caught it, it was them lines of trees.
Right.
And exactly the same thing as well. And with Cannock, the trees were snapped around about 20 foot up in the air.
Okay.
The tree just doesn't naturally snap 20 foot up in the air. It's going to go at its pace, you know. And yeah, there's definitely a link between Rendlesham and Cannock Chase as well.
That's weird, isn't it? They're that closely linked, isn't it? Really. And are you a big believer in Bigfoot and Sasquatch and cryptids?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I'm a strong believer in that as well. I think and I do believe what we are calling Bigfoot or Sasquatch is probably one of the most intelligent as well, because I do think they do use sort of like portals very quickly. That's why they disappear very quickly. I do feel that they can open up portals within seconds and time travel or time jump or whatever they do, because there's been a lot of footage of Bigfoot and then they just disappear. How are we talking about sort of like a 9-foot, Chewbacca type Wookiee running through, just disappearing to nowhere? Just to me,
a lot of people say about the orange orbs with Bigfoot, and that they can maybe be some sort of portal or something to do with them, because they quite often appear.
Yeah, 100%. I'm a strong believer in Bigfoot. I'm a strong believer in the ufology side of things, and the spiritual side of things are really, really closely linked. I do think it's just a different vibration, and of how we communicate with spirit. I think we just have to, and I'm talking about fractions. I think we can communicate with extraterrestrials. I'm a big believer in the CE5 project, where we can sort of use our energies to guide them to us.
Yeah.
I think there's a real strong link somewhere.
Because I think the Bigfoot's a very spiritual creature, and they understand us more than we understand them, and that's why they remain exclusive, isn't it? That we just don't see them, because they're so spiritual. They know what we're going to do, and they know where not to be seen, and they do just disappear. So I always think they're very, very spiritual. Same as aliens and UFOs. I think they're very much, anything that can fly that vast distance. You can't tell me that their technology is far superior to what we've got on planet Earth at the moment. And what's your opinion on what the Americans are doing now, where they're coming out with all these big conference about UFOs now, haven't they?
I think that is the biggest diversion that they're actually putting in front of us.
Yeah, I did wonder that.
I think there's a part of me that will say they will hide all the evidence in plain sight, and that is a strong belief of mine. And I do believe what they're putting out on the telly is a UFO. I do believe that, but tell me something that we don't know as a universe. We know, we've seen these Tic Tacs, we've seen these UFOs for years and years. This is nothing new to us, because you're seeing us on a weekly basis now. It doesn't feel like it's sort of actually disclosing anything. I always look at these, the whistleblowers. There's no stumbling when they talk. They're all very much, it's scripted in my eyes. I'm very skeptical when it comes to sort of things like that. There is a couple of things that, you think, okay. When we did Cannock Chase, we did a spirit box session by an entrance to where these lines were. It was a crossroads, and one of our team members saying, "Well, we can't go that way. Don't go that way. We don't want to go that way." And we started doing a spirit box session, and cut a long story short, it was like, "Who visits here?" And it said US presidents. And we said, "Name a president." And it said Trump. And I said, "Who else visits here?" Prime Minister. Name a prime minister that visited here. Johnson. And that came out of the spirit box.
Wow.
So, Cannock Chase to me, it's quite far from me. So we do like to put an event somewhere up in sort of near Birmingham, so we do get up there at least once a year. So we'll be going back in March sort of to do a little bit more digging. But what we was communicating with said it had some form of contact with high politicians, world leaders at that location.
But what they seem to forget, these governments now, that everybody's a roaming reporter. With these phones now, everybody's a roaming reporter, aren't they? So you can report from the site, on the scene, right at that very moment, where before you'd have to document it, go to here. Because I stumbled across a document that's done by the UK Gov of all the sightings since 1995 of UFO sightings in Britain up to 2017, I think. And when you read that, it's a UK government website, and it's on there. And some of the experiences there, you could say, well, you know, it's a bit generic, you know, or it's look like a dish and a fly. But some of them on there, when you read it, you think, now that's completely different to the generic flying saucer. It looked like a dish with a yellow light going around the top. And you think to yourself, that's quite generic, isn't it, really? That's how we were led to believe they were. But when you read some of the other people's experiences, you think, there is something in this story. But it's well worth going on the .gov website on UFO sightings in Britain and having a read. And it's not just in one area; it's all over the whole of the country and Ireland. And it's quite a good read. Some of them, you know, are generic, but some of them you think, well, could this person really make up, you know, having this bright light appear outside their house? And you know, you've got to make you wonder, doesn't it? But like saying, everybody's a roaming reporter now, so we all got cameras, we all got phones, we all got videos in our hands. So, you know, really, the government are going to have to start coming clean, because some day, somewhere, someone's going to catch it.
And that's one of like my conspiracy side of things. I think that's why Mr. Trump has surrounded himself in so many tech whizzes and geniuses that run the whole world, that I could quite easily say myself that why has he done that? Is that to hide things that is easy to come out now? Are they worried about this? You know, people say that Mr. Trump will give disclosure. I just find it's very weird that you've probably got all these tech whizzes to sort of, you know, he runs obviously, you know, Meta and TikTok. He wants TikTok. Why do you want TikTok? What are you going to shut down in TikTok? Do you know? You know, that's what that's where my conspiracy head goes. You know, it's nothing to do with spying in my eyes. It's what information you can shut down. But that's just me being cynical, I think.
Well, yeah. Right. Any other questions for us?
I've got two questions.
Okay. Graham Bentley's put, are there ghosts? Was that Neanderthal man from millions of years ago? Or are they ghosts of Neanderthal man from million years ago? I don't know what he's trying to say there.
I don't know if that's referring to Bigfoot or not, but only came up just now.
The other query, so what's your take on shadow figures, Russ? Why some dark, while some are light and some are grey?
I don't know. I think that's us. I think that's our eyes.
Right.
I think it's our vibration on our eyes. I think that's where we're seeing them, because, you know, the human eye doesn't normally necessarily always see spirit here. You always see it in your peripheral vision, which is obviously the furthest point around you that you can see. So, and that's because it's a lower vibration through your eye socket. So I think it's just, we see different lights because of our eyes are seeing it at different vibrations and different spectrums in our eye.
Interesting. What's the other question, Angela? Gemma's put, does anyone watch Uncanny with Danny Roberts? Do you watch him, Russ?
Danny Robbins, yeah.
And what's your take on him?
Yeah, I like him. I like him because he is sort of along the lines. He will look at both sides of it. He is a skeptic, but not a skeptic.
Yeah.
He believes, but doesn't believe. And it's very hard to do, but he does it really well. Some of his cases, you know, and he doesn't just poo-poo everything. He'll give you a reason why he shut it down and why he doesn't believe that. But he will never put you wrong. You know, he never just says, look, this is my belief. This is what it is. That's what it is. And it isn't that. He say, look, this is how it could be. I think how he words things and how he puts things across, I think gives a very well balanced sort of scenario to sort of the paranormal field. I think for me, when I watch paranormal programs on telly, I think I like a beginning, a middle, and an end. I think we watched, you know, unfortunately, that, you know, the UK's paranormal television viewing is flooded with American. You know, we've probably got one or two paranormal programs that are UK based or UK, and they always seem to take me to a point. So I'll sit there and watch the program, and you'll see it, and you think, "Oh, this is going to get interesting. This is going to get interesting." We've got things flying out the wall. We've got bangs going from anywhere, and then the program ends, and I don't even know what's really gone on by the end of it because they don't give me, or they've got, you know, oh, we can't go there because it's demoned. What? You've just called it forward, and now you're not going to deal with it.
Yeah.
It frustrates the hell out of me. And
Yeah.
it really
Yeah.
does.
I used to.
So
Forgot.
Gemma's put, it's the second one is on the 31st of January. Can't wait. Agree with you, Russ.
Yeah,
You know,
I saw him live as well, and he appeared on one of our shows for us as well. I'd actually interviewed
Oh,
him.
nice.
A really nice guy as well.
yeah. You know, I think it's like any paranormal investigation you go on, you know, obviously you have the utmost respect for spirit and surroundings. And if you're going to call them forward, and, you know, there's quite a famous TV program that used to call them forward and then scream and run. And, you know, I find that very disrespectful because spirits come forward, you've done what it's asked, and then you're running, screaming, shouting. I find that very disrespectful. I don't know how you see that, but anybody who calls it forward and doesn't finish it, I think that's very disrespectful.
I totally agree. I think the human mind, when it comes to the paranormal, we can never give an answer. We can never give 100% an answer of what it is, but we can conclude it at some point. This may not be the answer, but look, we called this forward. This is what's gone on. This is how we dealt with it. But it doesn't very rarely happen. Does it happen within sort of these American programs? And I say that because obviously we have Help My House is Haunted, that is probably the most well-known English one at the moment, or UK based at the moment. But they always give you why they're in there, the history of the place, and the end of it, what's gone on. And you feel like you may go, you know what? Yeah, I understand that. You may not believe it or sort of accept what they've said because you've seen something different, but they give you an opinion at the end. What's the famous American Zach Bagans or?
Oh
whatever.
yeah.
The geezer drives me insane because I just want to know what he's doing. He runs through all these, you know. You think if I was in this place that you are at, mate, you know, I'd be living the dream. But he gets so far forward, he has to put his mask on, can't do any more. Then he gets chucked out, and I don't think you think, come on, mate, you've just. I want to know what you're dealing with there.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's an English thing, but you know, I just want to know what he's dealing with. I want to, you know,
it's like dangling the carrot, isn't it? But never actually getting to it. You know,
I'd totally understand if he'd come back next week to find out, but you don't even go somewhere new next week and have to sit there and watch it all again.
And still no ending then. Watching a whole series with no endings.
Yeah, it's it. They never conclude it.
No.
You know, they will never say, you know, they'll never come out and say, oh, this is what we encountered. You know, we believe it was this energy. This is how we did it. This energy was male, female. You know, it was just, it always feels like it ends on, yes, this energy come forward. It got very violent or malevolent. We couldn't stay there. We had to leave.
And then the credits go off. And you're like,
that's it.
It's true, yeah.
It drives me insane.
Finally, tell her, Gemma's put, I find some of these programs are just in it for the money and don't really care, which is a very good way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And to me, right at the very beginning, this program is for entertainment purposes only. Tells you really everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
But I think that they can't put the programs on telly without that now.
No.
That's the sad thing. That is the actual, the production company, because I spoke to the Most Haunted crew.
Yeah.
And they never wanted that. They never ever wanted that on their end of their credits or before. But they had to do it because of sort of, I suppose, like legal purposes. So yeah, a bit crazy, really.
So finally, last one. Tell us a bit about your shop. Is it called Cyrus, your shop?
Yeah, Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus.
Tell us a bit about your shop, mate.
Well, to be fair, I always believe that spirit will guide us and take us to places where we need to be. So when we first started Essex Ghost Hunters, about 5 years into this, I say me and my uncle run Essex Ghost Hunters with a few other team members. We founded it, and he always said, "We're going to have a shop one day. We're going to have a shop one day." And I said, "Yeah, okay, Simon. Tell me how we do it, and I'll make it happen." And it went all along. It only opened It opened 3 years ago, just after COVID finished. Simon got made redundant, and he was looking for a job, and he was going to be a postman, and he got in the sorting offices, and then he got an interview. He got the job. Then he got his training. Then on the morning of the training, they cancelled him. They said it's going to be next week. We haven't got enough people. Next week come, the same thing. They said they haven't got enough people. We can't train him. 4 weeks later, it was still the same thing. I said, Simon, this is spirit telling you that this isn't the right place.
Yeah.
Is it now time for the shop? And I looked online. I found this wonderful little unit within a garden centre. On the Monday, I emailed. I got no answer. I emailed on the Tuesday, got no answer. Simon emailed on the Wednesday, and within 20 minutes got an answer. On the Saturday, we went up there to visit the unit. On the following week, we'd agreed it, and Cyrus was born. So obviously, Cyrus comes from my uncle's SI, and me, Russ, Cyrus, spiritual connections. And it's just like a holistic shop. We sell tarot cards, crystals, anything to do with spirituality, pendulums, dowsing rods, tongue drums, you name it. We've got a bit of everything, incense. And we've just built it up over the last sort of 3 years.
And whereabouts is this shop?
This is in just outside Malden in Essex. It's in White Elm Garden Centre, Bicknaker. We are open every day apart from Monday and Wednesday. So yeah, feel free to pop down and see us. I'm there most Saturdays because I say I've got another job outside of this. I work full time, but my Simon runs the sort of the day-to-day running of the shop. We are looking at going online. Everything is going that direction at the moment, but we're not quite there yet. It's another thing that I've got to try and get my head around. We've got everything in place. It's just going live with it.
That'd be handy, especially for people that live further away. It's a little bit of a trek for some of us, but if we could go to a website and say, oh, actually, that's really good. We fancy that. We'll buy that. So as soon as you get the link and get it up and running, send it across to Paul or Angela, and we'll pass it around our area as well.
We'll share it everywhere. I often go up to Felixstowe a lot because I got my sisters live up there. So you might have an unexpected visitor walk in one Saturday.
Feel free to. We're not far off the A12. We're literally about 10 minutes off the A12 because I go up to the A12 from work to the shop. If you come off at the A130 turn off, that's about 10 minutes there. Go through Hal
Oh,
Green,
okay.
and you're about 10 minutes there. It's actually a lovely day out for anyone that wants to go, because it's got a petting zoo and everything there as well. It's got
All right.
it's White Elm Farm, and they've got a petting zoo where the kids go and pet all the animals. It's got
Nice.
every random day in the summer you walk sitting out the front of the shop and you get like an alpaca walk past you, and baby chickens that the lady brings around. So yeah, it's a really lovely place. Lovely.
Cool.
Come back with
cat
some chickens then.
there.
Okay, there. Come back with some chickens.
So there you go, everybody. If you're out that way, please go in the Saris. Go
Yeah.
and buy, have a look at the shop, meet Russ and Simon, and get in there and support your local group.
I think answer to Gemma's question, I think it's about 1 hour 40, 1 hour 45.
What, to the shop?
More than that, yeah.
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 I'm just going to send Gemma the little link because
There's a lot of them on here down in Portsmouth for us.
Oh, I was there just after New Year in Portsmouth. I went away for the weekend down into Portsmouth.
Oh.
They've got
That's
the outlet there, haven't they? I mean, Mrs. wanted to go to the outlet. Is it
Gumball.
Gumball.
Gumball? That's it. So
Yeah, Gumball.
we stayed in a place called New Place.
Oh, that's is that along sort of like Sussex way? No, maybe I'm thinking somewhere else.
It was New Place. It's near Winchester. I think.
Right.
Oh, I know where you mean. I know where you mean. Yes.
Hotel. It's called New Place, and I tell you that was really haunted. They didn't want to listen to me, but that was haunted. Yeah,
That's a good experience.
it
That's
was
not far
really-
from us, actually.
Yeah,
I'm googling already.
where you have the breakfast in the morning, and it's really like a really nice sort of old-fashioned sort of hotel. Where you stay is like different to where the actual dining is, if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
I was sitting in the having our breakfast. I was talking to my partner Christina, and I said, "You know, this is haunted." She said, "Oh, look, we're away for weekend. Don't go on about haunted." I said, "This is weird." She said, "Oh, come on then, tell us what it is." And I said, "Well, this used to be. This was given to somebody. This was given to something, and I think it was given to a children's hospital or something." And that's all I kept getting. There was children running children. It became a school of something in the early, and it was only recently turned into a hotel and spa unit. So yeah, and we were sitting there, and I was going, and you know, like the old-fashioned dark wooden paneling in them sort of old places.
Yeah.
It's like really magnificent. So I went, "I'll prove it to you." I said, "If there's a little boy called Jason here, knock on the door." And I tell you what, she jumped out of her seat and sat right next to me because she heard the knocks as well. So it was,
Wow.
you know what? Winner.
Well done.
That's the thing. Once an investigator, always an investigator. You're never away, are you?
Well, I always remember it was last year. We went up to up near Woodbridge. If you ever go to Rendlesham or anywhere like that, and you're looking for a lovely place to stay in Seckford Hall. Okay?
Oh yeah,
just outside of Woodbridge, right
Woodbridge.
near.
Yeah.
And my partner says, "I'm going to take you away for your weekend for your birthday." So I said, "Oh, brilliant, fantastic." So I get there, and I'm a really good boyfriend. I didn't take no paranormal stuff. I kept everything away. And I get there, and she says, "Let's get the spirit board out." I said, "I haven't bought a spirit board. You know at me." Now I have to keep a spirit board in the back of the car. I have to keep bits in the back of the car now because I have to be prepared for all situations.
How funny. Once an investigator, always an investigator.
Oh,
Eh?
that's it. That's it. My missus doesn't sort of like it, but does like it. You know, she doesn't like all the activity going on, but she will sit there and do the spirit board and table tipping for hours. We could
Unreal, isn't it?
for hours. But if you heard someone walk across the floor or a banging, that's it. She's gone. Shut up. I don't want to hear it no more.
Because my partner's just started doing spirit art.
Brilliant.
Yeah, some of the pictures she's come up with are just quite incredible,
Yeah.
really. You know,
Where the shop is, where we've got the shop, we've got a unit next door as well, which is now a spiritual centre.
all
So
right.
I do like readings, and we run a little class in there every other Sunday. We do a circle, and funny enough, we was doing spiritual art about a few weeks ago, like automatic writing.
Yeah,
But we turned it into sort of let the hand draw, let it do what it wants. And two of the people produced these pictures, and I was like, and I said, "Can you draw?" She went, "I've never been able to draw in my life."
oh wow.
I don't know if I've actually got a picture of it, because it is unbelievable. Hold on, let's see if I've got a picture to show you. I can get it up on the screen. Hold on, because it's jaw dropping. It's absolutely jaw dropping of what she drew. And I said, "You're not lying to me, are you?" She went, No, I can't draw." I said, I think you can now.
What was that?
There's a whisper then.
As somebody said, go to bed. I
Well,
did.
Amy's whispering to me, but I doubt you
Ah.
can hear her more.
I had
Can
to
you
say go to bed and something like that. As we say,
There's
Can I
definitely a
go to
whisper.
bed?
maybe she's going to bed.
She wouldn't have said, I want to go to bed, would she?
No, complain about the wind. She said, "I don't want to be out there tomorrow in this wind."
Oh, it
So-
didn't sound like that, did it?
No, it's not go to bed.
Oh wow.
Oh wow!
But that lady could not draw.
Oh,
And then
did
she
you find out who that is?
No, she drew another one when she went home.
Cool. Wow.
Oh wow. Blimey.
That looks like Prince Charles a bit, doesn't it?
So
Sorry.
she could not draw.
It just needs to do
Wow.
the hair.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
Cool.
I
Right.
love it. I think spiritual, paranormal, UFOlogy, whatever.
Yeah.
I say,
You're
I'm
not
sorry,
alone.
I've spoken too much, but I can talk for
No.
hours.
No,
I
it's
used
been
to watch. Sorry, I used
Sorry.
to watch this Bruce bloke basically on. I'll say his name after we come off air. I won't say on air because he's not alive no more. So we don't know exactly happened to him, but I used to watch him all the time, me and Justin, and he used to do about the aliens on the moon. And he used to zoom in quite a lot, basically, and you could see like there's little villages, it looks like, and lights and things like that, and planets, and the ships going off and everything else. So I'll tell you what after we get off who it is, basically. But yeah, so he had a lot of UFO around his area. He had helicopters going over from the police. He had a lot of things going on. So I think that's what's happened to him personally. But he's not on no more because he's died. So it's sad, but yeah. So, but yeah, it was very interesting. He was all over the place. So go on.
After the Thursday night show, when I do the Thursday night show, if you start mentioning anything about flat Earth or anything like that, I'm not a flat earther, but if you start mentioning flat Earth, the computer starts going funny. Facebook don't like it. Then you hear all the helicopters start going, and you think, I've talked about a lot worse things than the flat Earth that I can't prove or disprove, but you want to shut me down over flat Earth. You know, you could sit there and spend 2 hours saying the moon landings were fake, and they don't do anything, or the whatever you want to call it, the algorithms here. It's like, oh yeah, I totally agree with it. You know, we have some funny things happen when you start talking about the deeper stuff.
Yeah.
Surprising who's listening, isn't it?
Massively.
That's something not to do tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
Here we go.
Any more questions, Angela?
No questions, but just this comment.
Into the dark, but thanks everyone. It was a pleasure listening to Russ. Brilliant.
Thank you so much.
True.
Thank you.
So it only remains from us to say we're privileged that you've spared the time for us to come on, Russ, and chat to us. It's been so interesting. And anybody that's in the Essex, get down the nursery, go and see Russ and Simon, or look onto their website. Do you want to give us a bone on your website, mate?
Yeah, you can say we've got all the social medias. If you want to sort of come and visit the website, it's www.essexghosthunters.co.uk. But you can find us on Facebook at Essex Ghost Hunters, Instagram, Essex Ghost Hunters, TikTok, Essex Ghost Hunters. you can find us anywhere. All you're looking for is them two little ghosts that are standing behind me somewhere. Like
I
that.
did give you a follow. I gave
Yeah.
you a follow on Facebook. I looked you up on TikTok.
Yeah, it's to be fair, this sort of time of year between sort of the end of November to sort of the beginning of March is our sort of quiet period. We sort of have a little downtime, so ready to go.
Yeah.
We started early this year. We go at the end of February this year, and we're at the Guild Hall in Essex this year. So,
All right, nice.
So, looking forward to that.
So if you're ever around in the Essex area, get onto the website, see what's going on. Definitely go along because you won't be disappointed. And maybe one day we'll have a collaboration. We'll all meet up.
Definitely.
Us normal paranormal, we'll all meet up and you could take us to a scary location in Essex. How's that sound?
It's been more than my pleasure, guys. Thank you ever so much for all having me and listening to me waffle for an hour.
You're very welcome.
Very enjoyable.
And it's just a big, big thank you, Russ, for doing it and keeping in contact and getting back to me as soon as you can. I really, really appreciate you coming on tonight. So it's a big, big thank you from all of us here to Essex Paranormal and Russ, and give our regards to Simon when you see him.
Will
Because
do.
you'll probably recognise some of our faces appear in your shop at some stage, no doubt.
Yeah,
So it only
just
remains
give
for me
him a
to
nod.
say, sorry?
Just give him a nod. Just say I've sent you. That's it. I'll get him
So
on next time. I'll get him on next
Yeah.
time. So if it's back
Definitely.
again, I'll bring Simon on because he's older and wiser than me, and he's got more stories to tell than what I have.
Cool. We'll hold you to that, mate. Don't worry. So it only remains for me to say, if there's no other questions, thank you so much to everybody for tuning in tonight and watching us. Hope you really enjoyed it. It's very, very interesting listening to Essex Ghost Hunters and Russ. And once again, thank you so much for your time this evening and chatting to us about all sorts of things. So it only remains me to say a farewell, and we'll talk about the Bombay Sapphire next week, hopefully. Yes, we definitely will, because that was a very, very good location. We're sorry, Julie, we should have spoke about it a bit tonight.
No, we'll do it
But-
next week. There's plenty of time. Plenty of other time.
But next week, I'll try and send a video to Angela and see if we can get it uploaded of the shadow figures and a few voice things. I need to go over my video camera that I left running for ages. But anyway, a big, big thank you from Monday Night Paranormal Live, from everybody on the team. Have a safe week and be careful. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.